Hello and welcome to the Mindful Millionaire YouTube channel. I'm Leisa Peterson, and today I'm so very happy to be talking to Justin Breen. Justin is the founder and CEO of global PR firm BR Epic and exclusive connectivity platform BR Epic Network. His newest book, Epic Life, features a foreword by Dr. Peter Diamandis and has been the #1 overall book for sales on Amazon Kindle. It's also recently made the Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller lists. That's incredible. Welcome, Justin. I'm so happy you're here.
This will be a fascinating conversation. I've been looking forward to this for sure.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more about you because I got to know you, but I would love it if you kind of just give us that brief introduction so that people are tracking kind of where you're coming from and what's important to you.
Yeah, happy to do that. So most of the people I talk to 5 days a week are the world's top entrepreneurs, top visionaries, people that change the world. And then my brain hears blah, 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 and then simplifies it into a message or pattern and then connects that visionary to other visionaries. So have a wonderful wife who's a pediatrician, two very wild future entrepreneur sons that are 8 and 10. And then I spend more time with them than any dad I've ever met, and then just connect people like us to people like us. So that's a lot of fun. Never get tired of it. It's not work at all. It's very lucrative, and it's the purpose of my life.
Have you always been this way with connecting people?
So that's a wonderful follow-up question, and you're definitely a simplifier. Uh, you're you're a simplifier. I can hear it, but I think you're either you're born with certain gifts, you're born with certain things, and then most people are miserable in life because they never find out what that is. So they're doing something that they don't like to do or are not good at 8 to 10 hours every day. So that's most of the world. And then there's the second segment where they actually find out what they like to do and what they're good at, but they never do anything about it. I don't understand that. It's confusing to me. So I've been like this basically my whole life. Either when I was an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist for 20 years or just running global companies now. There's really never been any deviation from the purpose. It's just done in different ways now.
When you meet people, what are you looking for?
That's a great question. I'd love to know your answer to that too. My wife, who's brilliant and a full stabilizing human, she keeps telling me, she's like, stop identifying people as numbers. But I see the world as numbers and keywords. So I'll tell you what that means. The only thing I write down before I meet someone is their name and their Kolbe score, Kolbe, A index. Takes 20 minutes. It measures how your brain takes action. I don't care what someone's personality is at all. That's totally meaningless to me. I want to know if they're actually going to do something, and have found that Colby is the best way of. There are other ways, but that's the best way of determining it. And we only partner with visionaries, so not humans, not business owners, not consultants. So true visionaries changing the world. The overwhelming majority of visionaries, there are some exceptions, but the overall overwhelming majority of visionaries are at least a 7 quick start like me. The highest is 10. Most of the people I talk to are 8, 9, and 10s. You're an 8. Probably the average score of the people I talk to is like a 3, 3, 9, 3. So like a 9 quick start with a 3 follow through. That's pure ADD, ADHD, diagnosed or undiagnosed. It's not a disorder. It's a sign of genius mislabeled by humans. Humans just don't understand visionaries. And then I'm a very, very rare integrating visionary. So I have high quick start and high follow through. Say it, do it, say it, do it, hit the gas, pump the brakes, hit the gas, pump the brakes. And then the keywords are, we only partner with visionaries who live in abundance and who look at things as investments, not costs. So again, only visionaries, not business owners, not consultants, not humans, just visionaries. There's no scarcity. There are no excuses. And if anyone asks, what do you cost or charge? That's an automatic disqualifier from another conversation, because people that ask, what do you cost or charge, hang out with people that ask, what do you cost or charge? And people that ask, what does an investment with you look like? Hang out with people that ask, what does an investment with you look like? So visionary, abundance, investment, high, quick start, Kolbe. That's what I look for.
And as a result of having that criteria, let's just call it criteria, which isn't totally probably comprehensive enough, but it's simplifying.
It is. It is. It is enough. That actually is. That's an interesting secondary point you made. It actually is. Because I know, like 99% of the time, I know the answer. So here's the answer, focus on that. And then here's the non-answer, just eliminate that from life. Just eliminate it. So the people that do fit that criteria, they allow me to spend time with my family whenever I want to, which is what I care most about.
Oh, yeah. I love this conversation because I play in a couple worlds. I don't have the criteria that you do in the most clear way. So I
Yeah.
love what you're talking about. And I
Yeah.
can see when I make exceptions
Oops.
to who
How
I
does that
really
go?
want to be with,
Yeah.
it
How does that
doesn't
go?
go so
Well,
well.
why would so here's the so that one, thanks for saying that too. My brain knows the answer. Here's the answer. So I already knew what you were going to say. So why I would just not, I stopped doing it. So there's 34 strength finders, 34 Gallup Clifton strength finders. Again, keywords. I'm dead last in empathy, second to last in includer. For people like us, I have endless empathy, endless inclusion, endless. I just don't understand people that make excuses. It's like, it's illogical to me. And then I'm 100% black and white. My wife, again, pediatrician, full empath, full includer. She's 100% gray. So I have found 100% gray empath folks into my life, but me personally, 100% black and white, 100%.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think I've become better and better at it. And quite frankly, I think one of the reasons that being in business has helped me grow so much, different than being in sales or working for a corporation,
Oh,
is
yes.
over time, I've realized that who you work with is such a big deal, like
Right.
such a big deal. And if you
Everything.
are working with people, and I know we started this conversation and we stopped it a week ago because we wanted to share this with everyone, was this idea that you said, I won't work with low quick start folks. And I was like, oh my gosh, tell me more, because immediately it was like my life flashed before me. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if some of these folks that I have worked with in the past have been low quick start, but I didn't see their
Yes.
Kolbe.
The answer is yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What is a low quick start number to you?
Anything less than a 7.
Oh, wow. That's
So in
pretty
six
steep.
plus, okay, so talk is meaningless to me. So in 6+ years as an entrepreneur, of the Colbys that I know of, and then I know almost all of them, because that's the only thing I ask people to send me before I meet with them. But we've partnered with 2 people under a 7 quick start, 2 in 6 years. So I'll talk. But what I've learned is they're their own worst enemy. I'll be curious to see, because I've been an entrepreneur for a little over 6 years. I'll be curious to see if yours 7 through 10 or 10 through 20, the low quick starts do something, but honestly, it doesn't really matter to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what I found is, again, there are exceptions, but for the most part, high quick starts that are trying to change the world do not want to be introduced to low quick starts who ask, what do you cost or charge, and take 30 years to make a decision, unless it's for like a number 2 position within the company or an employee employee position. But in terms of like an intro for collaborations, they do not want that. That's what I've learned. And why would you? Why would you want, if you're someone who wants to change the world, why would you want an intro to someone that's going to hold you back from doing that? That's illogical to me.
What's your definition when you think of that combination, quick start, and you think of Kolbe? Like, can you give us more insight into what that means?
Yeah. So you're a high fact finder. A lower fact finder never would have asked that question. So then you can see you're a 6 fact finder. I'm an 8. 10 is the highest. But this is, my brain again simplifies everything into patterns. So visionaries, again, visionaries usually, but not always, a high quick start, lower follow through. So a visionary usually either ADD, ADHD 2, minor Asperger's, which is ultra focused lack of empathy. That would be me, according to my wife, who is a doctor. 3 is dyslexia. 30% of visionaries, again, not business owners, not consultants, not humans, visionaries, diagnosed with dyslexia. And then 4 is incredibly high IQ and or EQ. So you brought this back to work and the people you work with. People like us are usually aliens within our own family, community, and verticals. The only people who understand us are top entrepreneurs on the planet. So when I was an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist, journalists who were journalists had no idea what I was taught. They had no idea what I was talking about or doing, and I had no idea what they were complaining about. And then I just turned 46, so first 40 plus years of my life, I was talking to people that had no idea what I was talking about, and just found out in the last couple of years, since being in 2 of the top entrepreneurial groups in the world, that those are the only people that, 1, understand what I'm talking about. 2, they're the only ones I can actually learn anything from, because they're aliens within their own family, community, and verticals, which is what I.
But what do they do differently? I hear visionary, but I also hear this word quick start. And does it
They
mean
don't
that they,
overthink anything. They don't over. No. Okay, so
oh,
high quick start means not afraid of risk. It means idea, 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 shiny object, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object, shiny. So and then business owners care about revenue, office space, employee count, material things. They're trying to change their world there. True visionary cares about meaningful measurements, time with family and loved ones, purpose, extending, exponentially growing that purpose. So they're changing the world, not their fundamental difference. It's just a fundamental. And again, most visionaries are high quick start, low follow through. There are exceptions, but most of them are high quick start, and that means they're not afraid of risk. That's why they want to change the world, because that takes risk to do that.
the follow through versus implementer. This has tripped me up sometimes.
Totally different. It's totally different.
Yeah. Okay. Can you make that distinction?
Yes, I can. So implementer in Kolbe world is using your hands to build things. It's not executing. Follow through is actually executing. So you're a 4 implementer, which is pretty high for an entrepreneur. I'm a 1, so I'd be a 0. If there was a 0, I would be a 0. So you probably like to draw, and you like things that look nice, and maybe build stuff with, I don't know, maybe you like cooking, or cutting things up.
Yeah.
Okay, that for me, I cut my fingers off. I can barely hold a pencil right. My partner for second company, he's a 6 implementer, which is really, really high. I mean, that's really, really high. So he needs to like be in a physical space to see things. If there was a problem, he'd need to kick the tires of the car. I don't even need to look at the car. I don't want to look at the car, or even think about kicking the tires. But so that's what implementer means in Kolbe world. It doesn't mean execute. It means like using your hands, tangible physical space thing.
So engineers can be high
doctors,
implementers.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially, and like where you would see it in entrepreneur world, because it's in entrepreneur world, you mostly see high quick start. but you can see high implementer, like let's say they're an entrepreneur who happens to be a surgeon, or an entrepreneur who happens to be an architect, or an entrepreneur who happens to be in a construction firm or landscaping firm, because then you need to use your hands. You probably wouldn't want a one implementer doing surgery on you. That would be a bad idea. You'd probably get some of the equipment stuck in you, which wouldn't, and you wouldn't get stitched up right. It would be bad. But you would see
Right.
like an entrepreneur who happens to be a dentist or something, something like that would be a high implementer.
Yeah, no, this is translating for me that I do love to paint and cook, but also when I have ideas, I put them into graph form. Like I have to get out the Sharpie and draw them out,
I
and I
mean,
have to see those ideas
right,
on paper.
right. So you just said this again, you said the same thing I did, and then the number simplified that for me. So that's the whole point of it. I just want the answer. And there's other assessments you can do, like DISC is fine. I like Strength Finders the second best, and then there's another one called Print, which is your unconscious motivators. That's similar to Enneagram. Have you done Enneagram?
Yeah,
Are you a
7,
3 of 7? Okay, you're a 7. Okay, so
7.
8, 3s, and 7s are doers. So they don't overthink or overfeel. And then like the 2s and the 4s and the 9s are feelers. They need to feel something first, and then the 1, 5s, and 6s are thinkers. So I'm an 8-3. That's a doer, 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 and then most of the again, there are exceptions, but most of the really high performing entrepreneurs, like in the 50K, 100K a year, entrepreneur groups, they're 8-3s or 3-8s, or they have a 7 and they're doers.
Yeah. And you mentioned Strength Finders. What are your top ones there? Just curious.
You want to guess? I bet you know the answer to. I bet you know the answer to.
Strategic. I mean, strategic is it showing up?
That's top 10.
Futuristic?
Nope.
I'm telling you mine.
Can
I
I can
don't
I
know.
tell you yours? Because I already know what yours are. I mean, I don't know, but so okay. 95+% of the folks I talk to, and again, they're all visionaries. So they're high in ideation and or futuristic. So they're often wherever that world is, okay? Wherever that world, but they have a mix of activator, maximizer, and or achiever. So they're often that world, but they'll do something about it now. If you're off there and don't do anything, that's a horrible life. That's not a good life to be trapped in that world. But and so there's 34 of them. I'm dead last in empathy, second to last in includer, third to last in ideation, uh, very low in futuristic, but top 5 are activate, maximize, achieve, competition, responsibility. And then 6th is self-assurance. So it's immediately blah, 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 simplify, and then go, 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 never stop, go, go, never stop, connect, connect, connect. So I'm very grateful for Ideator Futurists because they're the ones that create everything. And they're very grateful for me because I can simplify all their shiny objects into one and then connect, 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 connect.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, maximizer, futuristic,
Right,
strategic.
right,
Yeah, those I can't remember the other ones. It's been a while, but
right.
those
You've got
those
the most
resonate.
important. Yeah. Well, that's what, again, if you know the answer, here's the answer, eliminate the non-answer. It's a logical thing. And then it's just when you talk to enough of people like us, then here's the pattern that you continue to see the same patterns. Every now and then there'll be an anomaly. It does happen. And then I get a little confused about it. But for the most part, it's high quick start, futuristic ideators with activator, maximizer, achiever, and then with print or Enneagram, it's an 8-3 or 7. That's usually what happens.
You started out by saying that when you know you're a visionary, you are going to really stand to benefit by having better boundaries about who you hang out with. But I also think it's interesting because of what you also said, which is visionaries might be really lonely because they
Yes.
don't necessarily have people that understand all this
No.
stuff that's going on in their perspective. And I am curious. So, what do you think, or what do you recommend for people like myself that helps them? And maybe this is what you talk about in your book. So, I'd love to know. But how do you live an epic life? How do you make sure that you're making good choices? Because your time is so freaking precious. I really get it. I'm just curious what you would say to
Okay,
that.
thank you. Okay, thank you. So the talk is meaningless without an answer. So one of the chapters in the book is you can't create when you're chasing time. 2, avoid time vampires, like the plague. 3, make sure you're winning the right game, which is spending time with family and loved ones and growing network, and not necessarily being consumed with revenue, office space, employee count. Like, to me, that's just winning the wrong game. Winning the right game is living a meaningful life with your family, loved ones, and then building network. And have found all this other stuff. Other stuff takes care of itself. But literally, epic life is just answer, 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 answer. It's talking to people like us. Maybe once a month, someone like us will say a truly transformational idea. And but I'm because I'm so low in ideation, I know if it's a really great one. And then again, top 3 are activate, maximize, achieve. So I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Activate, maximize, achieve that into my life, and then write a chapter in a book about it. More often than that, by far, one to 2 times a week, I talk to someone like us who has let entrepreneur life destroy their family life or prevented them from having a family / anything meaningful. So I'm like, well, that's a bad idea. I'm going to activate, maximize, achieve not doing that. That's literally what my brain does with that.
Mhm. Yeah. So you wrote the book for folks that fit this description because you saw that there wasn't a
Yeah.
clear map for many people.
No map, because people are winning the wrong game in a world where they highlight winning the wrong game as the game. Yeah.
You
So the
mentioned this.
formula.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
Well, it just because you mentioned living an abundant life, and I wrote a book about that and
Mhm.
questioning these assumptions and
Yeah.
this idea of are you playing to not lose or are you playing to win would be another
Yes.
way that
Well, that a
sometimes
low
it's
quick
said.
start plays not to lose. A low quick start will play not to lose because they're afraid of risk. A high quick start will play to win. Yeah.
Do you think people can learn that?
Well, here's how I'll answer that. So you are either born top performing entrepreneur on planet or not. I'm firmly convinced of that. Um, our firms partner with maybe 1 out of 1,000 people. Most people live in scarcity, so they don't understand that's actually a big number. If there's 8 billion people, 1 out of 1,000 of that is 8 million. So there's 8 million of yous on the planet. So if you are born like that, though, you can work on your mindset. You can learn. So I just work on my mindset, building a more powerful abundance visionary investment mindset, which attracts cooler and cooler visionaries who live in abundance and who look at things as investments, not costs. If you'd like, I can dovetail um, what entrepreneurs actually are, if that's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, brain simplifies everything into patterns, and all I do is talk to people like us. Um, and this is what separates entrepreneurs from humans, and business owners and consultants. I have not met one person like us. And again, I'm not talking about silver spoons. So that's a different discussion. So I haven't met one person like us that hasn't overcome at least one of the following 4 things. Most of the people I talk to now are 3s and all 4s. I'd say over 50% are all 4s. So these are the 4 things. 1, bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. 2, depression. 3, the highest level of anxiety that you can imagine. And 4, likely and or possible traumatic experiences as a child or young adult. So for humans, business owners, consultants, those are excuses, things that hold you back. For entrepreneurs, that's the fuel, that's the motivation. We'll figure it out. And so what entrepreneurs actually are, they're the most damaged people, the most trauma, most potential bankruptcy, but they have the best coping skills. So the highest IQ, the highest EQ, the most courage. And then what I've seen, and you talked about this with the roadmap, this is probably why the roadmap didn't really exist, is that these entrepreneurs, they use these coping skills to create wealth, companies, cars, and that's fine, all that stuff. And then many times they torch their family or never have a family in the process. So Epic Life is about how to build collaborative global companies while putting your loved ones first, which is what I know people like us want. They just don't know how to do it.
Wow. Yeah, that's that's really, really interesting in so many ways, because what the map has looked like is external success for
Wrong
the
map.
most part. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to bring to light in the book, in The Mindful Millionaire, was that we have lost our way in
Yes.
what measurements we're using to decide if we're living on purpose, and we're really
Yes.
living our best life. Um, how does spirituality fit into this?
Oh, love that question. One, the Mindful Millionaire is it's a great title, and you used white space really brilliantly with the cover, and then used the plant as a dollar sign. It's very smart. And then overcoming scarcity are the first two words of the subtitle, which is that's smart. So we're on the same mindset frequency. We're on the same we're on the same. And I think when you find people I think when you find people like that, um, it eliminates all the what do you cost or charge thinking. It just eliminates that. And then basically, I just connect people like you to people like you, and then people like you connect people like you to people like me. And I found all this other stuff just kind of takes care of itself. So it's really fascinating to see that in real time. And it just takes time to do that. It just takes time and pressure, and then never giving up. I mean, again, that's what separates. So I was a journalist for 20 years. So top athletes, interview top athletes, top musicians, top performers, whatever that is, top entrepreneurs, and now just connect top entrepreneurs to top entrepreneurs. So I've seen only two commonalities with those people, only two. One is they had the same mindset, no excuses, never gave up ever. The second one, and I have not found an exception to this yet, maybe there is, but I haven't seen it yet, is that all these people had at least one person who genuinely cared about them / believed in them. So that could be a parent, aunt or uncle, grandparent, a teacher, a coach, a mentor. They had someone. I have not met one person like us that had zero people care about them or believe in them. If that happens and I meet that person, that would be fascinating to me. I just haven't yet. That would be interesting
Hmm.
though.
Hmm. You mean from childhood or from any time in their life?
Anytime I have, yeah, because that's an interesting point. Because maybe through childhood they don't have that, but then they meet like their high school basketball coach, or I don't, an acting coach, whatever, an entrepreneurial mentor. Because again, people like us are usually aliens within our own families, so parents don't necessarily understand us, or siblings don't. So I haven't met that. I I just think that would be so interesting to meet that person that had no one. I mean, that's like pure that would be pure doing it yourself, which would be incredible to me, without any foundation of anyone else. Have you met anyone
Hmm.
like that? I haven't yet.
No, but I think it's interesting because maybe maybe they don't like ripen or actualize without it, so they have all the potential, but without that person. Because as you're explaining this, I'm
Yes.
thinking, oh, my mom was very I was an alien, yes. My mom was pretty supportive, but she had so much trauma, and so did my father.
Right.
They couldn't understand me, and but I have never made this kind of understanding in this level of clarity until this moment. But it's my husband, who I met when I was
Right.
19,
He's a
20. I'm
stabilizing human, right?
100%.
Right.
Yeah, on the spectrum, totally devoted. his
Right.
I am a big part of the meaning of his life, and he is completely supportive of what I do and how I go about it. So
Have you
without
Colby'd him?
him,
Have you Colby'd him?
no, no, but remember, I'm on it.
Come on, he's an
He's a really
882.
high implementer. He's
Oh,
a
eight eight
builder.
two five maybe. Yeah, well, low quick. He's probably low quick start. Low quick starts usually don't like to take assessments. My wife is 8742. uh, Brilliant stabilizing human, and then um, like yeah, without her, very bad situation. So the first thing I do every day is a grateful journal to her, what I'm grateful for to her the previous
Mm,
24 hours. Yeah.
yeah, I feel that. I'm totally there. Completely, completely. And I feel really fortunate. I mean, we've been together for
Three
since
decades, right?
1987. 87. Yeah, like wow, it's amazing these days.
Well, it would be interesting to see his Kolbe, um, uh, and then or his Enneagram. Like he's probably has he done his Enneagram? Probably not, but
No.
he if he was, he'd probably be like a 1 or a 5, which is like things need to be perfect and right, or to be knowledgeable
Oh
and
yeah.
smart. Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
okay. So I didn't. I
Perfectionist.
can. Yeah. So you can, and then people like us usually marry stabilizing humans. Usually, not always, but usually.
It makes a lot of sense. And
Yes.
I think we're both grateful for that. So what do you want to wrap up with? What questions do you have for me or for the conversation? Just curious.
Yeah, that's usually what I ask at the end of interviews. So that's interesting that you. Well, I would like to know your husband's Colby and his Enneagram if you can make him take just force him to do it.
Okay.
Um, I think if it's helpful for the audience, um, if it's helpful, the two favorite patterns but that alien brain has come up with is one, if you have the right mindset, it attracts right networking, creates right opportunities. So you work on mindset that attracts network, and then that network creates opportunities for you. As a dovetail to that, the wrong mindset attracts wrong network slash no network, and then there's no opportunity. So that's probably not a good idea. The second one is uh, I keep making bigger investments into smaller rooms, but the people in those rooms are making bigger impacts. So, same formula: bigger investment, smaller room, bigger impact. That allows me to spend biggest investment, write biggest check in smallest room, which is my family, where I can make the most impact. So, it's the same formula, but you use it on yourself first. That wasn't necessarily a question, but that is something that folks can ask themselves where they're making investments. And the number one investment, uh, I don't like to use the word should, but uh, should be in yourself first, for sure.
hmm Something came to me as I was listening to you, and that is, does a visionary need to have some big company to make
No,
the
no,
impact?
no.
I knew your answer, but I'm curious if you could elaborate on why.
Okay, sure. One of the chapters in the book is again talk as me. And every answer is in the book. That's very interesting, isn't it? So one of the chapters is be a small giant. Um, so um, that's I hate using the word advice, but advice from one of my genius entrepreneur friends, Stephen Nooner, who also is a high quick start, high follow through, which again is very rare. But people with high quick start, high follow throughs, he describes them as being small giants. So at 1, 2, or 3 things, world class, superpower genius, with or without a giant company, that's immaterial. But and then the other stuff, you just kind of ignore it. So absolutely, you do not need to have a giant company. You don't need to have an office. You don't need to have employees to have massive transformational power on a global level.
I like that. I'm guessing a lot of visionaries would like to hear that because
Right.
I think what I've realized in my journey of the past 9 years of being an entrepreneur and having a business and building it out and having teams of people,
Yes.
um, it was great. It allowed me a foundation. I learned a lot, but
And
I got to the
and
point that I feel like I can make a bigger impact without all that baggage.
100%. Less is more.
Hmm.
Yeah, baggage.
Fascinating.
Well, baggage prevents you from having time. So then you can't create if you're chasing time. So
Right.
right. It's
Right.
all it just goes back to itself. But again, you're taught by not you. I'm just saying the world teaches
Yeah.
us that have massive amount of employees, revenue. That's fine. That's great. Um, when you're a journalist for 20 years, that's not you don't get into journalism for any of that stuff. That's immaterial, pun not intended. But I just don't care.
Hmm. The book Epic Life: How to Build Collaborative Global Companies While Putting Your Loved Ones First. And when you use that word companies, what I'm hearing is those might be little companies as far as you, yourself, and maybe some VA or something. It's not,
Yes.
we don't have to think of it as like a global company is
No.
people who are employed from all over the world.
No. Absolutely not. And I'd love that you understood that, communicated it very well, and then most importantly, bridged it to your audience to help them understand that. That's a great gift you just provided for people.
Well, I'm super excited to dive in, and I hope that those folks who are listening, everyone gets a copy of the book, checks
Mhm.
out what Justin is up to, connects. Where can people best connect with you? I know you're active on LinkedIn. That's how we were able to connect.
Yeah, that would be fine. The main site is brepicllc.com, brepicllc.com. The only reason I mentioned that there's a mindset scorecard survey. It's through the Strategic Coach platform. That's one of the great entrepreneur groups I'm very honored and grateful to be in. Takes 5 minutes and people really like it. They actually qualify or disqualify themselves with their own mindset. It's really interesting to see that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Justin, for coming and talking about these really, to me, juicy topics.
Yeah, this was so much. I mean, you're a great simplifier and then discernment and galvanizer. So those are great gifts to have, and I really appreciate the questions and the simplification of my answers. Thank you.
Thank you. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you'll get all the latest updates of meditations, tapping videos, different coaching calls that I share on the YouTube channel. And also be sure to take my money and chakra quiz. This shows you where you might be out of balance as it pertains to money and exactly what you can do for your next steps.